What is up? Welcome to Gone Diggin' live from the Relic Room. My name is Matt, and I appreciate everybody coming in and sticking in with us this lovely Treasure Tuesday, which for some people has been a trapped Tuesday where you were trapped in your house. And I hope that wasn't the case for you. It kind of has been for us today. Um, Working on a great sinus infection and everything else, but everything's good in my neck of the world. I hope you guys are well and healthy. We've got a great show for you tonight. We are going to do our best to make this run seamlessly and smoothly, but this is the internet and anything can happen. 24 awesome folks here hanging out, and the first in the chat was, I think it was Mr. PA Pirate Paul. Yes, sir. Thank you for coming in and hanging out with us. Tonight we have the Copperheads Metal Detecting. I'm going to hold my fingers. Or what do we got? Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Boom. There we are.
And Mike is frozen, of course.
And Mike is asleep at the wheel. Mike, what is going on, buddy? Trey and Mike, man, we are...
We're struggling. We're struggling.
You know
It's
what
tough.
though? That's the way of live streaming. I don't
Listen, I
know.
don't know if Mike looks the same way he does on your screen that he does on mine, but definitely have his best side right now. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Well, if you guys are ever wondering, Mike, this is what Mike looks like while he's asleep. Um,
Yeah.
oh, but he
There
said
you
my eyes
go.
are open again. What's up, buddy? How are you
Uh,
doing, Mike? He said,
oh, he's
yeah.
struggling. Yeah,
He's having a tough time. So this, if anybody is interested in joining a live stream as either a guest or as hosting one, this is some of the fun
Oh,
stuff we get to look forward to. We had a great stream set up
oh,
earlier. We tested this. We're rookies, but we're not that bad.
no.
I don't know. I'm trying.
Mike's trying. Um,
Oh
so
god.
we're gonna work through this as best. Mental Metal Scott says, "Welcome to my internet hell."
Yeah,
Yeah, man, this is it's
Can you
tough.
guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you
we
great,
can
buddy.
hear you. Yeah.
Um,
Are you
it's
good?
Nah, he's back to frozen. So I tell you what,
Uh,
there we go. If we run this up and down and it ends up that Mike you end up crashing out, Mike, I will give you your own special stream where me and you can hang out
Ooh.
without Trey.
Well, that's an
Um,
entertaining hour right
so yeah, he's got a heck of a lag
There we
too.
go.
So
Okay. There we go. I'll take
you'll take it. You'll take it. All right. So it's this is funny.
probably
How did
gonna
you guys
happen.
get into this whole YouTube thing? First of all, hold on. Let's go back. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
All
Thanks
right.
for having
I'm
us
gonna
on,
hop
man.
out.
This is awesome.
Hmm,
Oh, well, that's nice.
what do you say?
I think he's gonna hop out.
All
It's
right.
working.
Yeah, he's good. He's just
Yeah.
hanging out. Um, so
We'll get a live
yeah,
look at his
so
living
we'll
room.
run some intermittent mic in here as well. But Trey, so let's start and you guys are from New Jersey, right?
Yeah, we're in northern Jersey, but we do a lot of hunts in central Jersey too. So we're all
Yeah,
over.
yeah, and we'll talk about the nonsense of what's going on in the world right now. But everything's good in your world, right? You know, on like crisis lockdown mode, like everybody else.
Yeah, we're stuck in our houses all day. I actually live with my fiance, and I'm pretty sure she's getting tired of me. So, but that's what happens.
Mike, are you good?
He looks good.
Do you tell? Is that because he shaved his head today?
I think so. Look at the shimmer. Uh, but yeah,
It
we're getting a little stir crazy in here. It's we both Mike and I travel for a living, and when we get stuck inside the house, all we want to do is get outside. So luckily we've been detecting a couple times, which is good. But yeah, we need to get out.
Uh, Let me go ahead, and we're gonna do some quick on the fly adjustments. Um,
Cool.
yeah, Mike. Unfortunately, we uh, we had to drop your stream there, Mike. But we're gonna drop this down and make Trey the star of the show for now. And this is again, this is the unfortunate part of what this is. So.
The
Um,
internet picked the better looking of the two. I'll tell you
um,
that right
so, so yeah, you guys getting a little stir crazy and stuff like this. So let's start off because unfortunately of what we had, we're missing two of your group. So one is Mike, which
now.
everybody got to see for a second there. But tell me about Copperheads Metal Detecting and how it got started and what Copperheads is all about and all of that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So I would say 2 years ago, we actually have 7 people in our group total, and it spans from, well, now maybe 8. It spans from Long Island to Jersey to Connecticut, but we have a lot of people that we hunt with and we have a really good time with. But 2 years ago, I met a guy named Clay on Facebook because we were both posting in the same town's Facebook page for permissions, and I was like, who the heck is this guy trying to take the permissions that I'm trying to get? So I actually ended up reaching out to him to see if he wanted to go together. And eventually we met up. We almost have the exact same birthday. We're the exact same age. His name's Clay. My name's Trey. And we went out. We had an amazing time. And we were finding some really good stuff. So we were like, you know what? Let's start filming some of this stuff and sharing it with people because uh, we wanted to get what we were finding out into the world of the YouTube space. So we started doing it. We made a couple videos. They did pretty well, and eventually met Julian, uh, and he actually messaged me because he was watching our YouTube page, and he actually lived 15 minutes away from me. So we hooked up, and then our little groups just spread from there. I work with Mike, and I talked him into it one day, and now he's hooked. He knows more about it than I do, and that's that's how hooked he is. So, and he's finding more than me this year.
So is that like so it's worked into I mean a much larger group, but do you have
Yeah.
I mean I think we all kind of have these kind of groups we hunt with. Do you have it? Is it you, Mike, and Julian who are the majority of what Copperheads is about, or
Yeah,
it just
I would
kind of
say
all mixes up?
yeah, I would say me, Mike, and Julian are probably the core three, just because we're able to hunt together more often. Clay and Trish are married, but they're both EMTs and they work during the weekends for the most part. And Trish, congratulations if you're watching. So she's about to have a baby.
Oh wow,
So
that's awesome!
so
Yeah, congratulations
yeah,
to
so they're
them.
not able to hunt with us more as often as we like, but so for the most part, it's just us three, and then we have Greg and Chris and Joe. We have a couple other group members that periodically hunt with us. So, but mostly it's us three going out and hunting together and making the videos. So every now and then you'll see a special with Clay that he goes out and videos his own hunts, and I'll put that on our page too. And he finds some awesome stuff. He uses the Ace 400.
Yeah, a great machine. I mean, it's just a great
Yeah.
example of it doesn't really matter what you hunt with. You just have to put your coil
No.
over it, right?
Yeah, he knows that machine really well. He has an AT Pro too, and he doesn't use it.
Um, so yeah, and big shout out to a couple folks who are in the chat. If you guys have a question, you can put at Copperheads or at Gone Diggin. We'll try to get to the questions as we go. Um, so you guys both started, and it's interesting. You said you started by looking for permissions in the same town on Facebook. And
Yeah.
that's really honestly that's pretty interesting to me because we talk a lot about permissions here on the show and how to get permission. Um, Billy Dunnett said, "Yeah, this whole virus stuff's put a damper on door knocking for permissions." But
Yeah. Yeah.
how did you go about getting permission on Facebook?
So, once we accumulated a couple of the finds, we took some really nice pictures of them. I actually went on this website called Canva. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but you can make some really creative flyers and stuff like that. So I made a flyer, took a couple good pictures of our finds, and I kind of boasted what we were finding because a lot of people think you're not going to find anything where they live, and they're completely wrong. So you just show them this is the potential. Hit me up. It's free. We have an extra machine, so it's nice for us. So we'll offer to the person if they want to come with us. And some people bite, man. They get intrigued by what you can find, and they want you to come out and see. And a lot of the times we've been lucky, and they don't even ask for the stuff that we find. But sometimes you do get the occasional, hey, what are you going to do with that? I would like to keep it. So, which is part of it. So I don't really get upset by that, but you try to work the deal out before you start it. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Sometimes it's better to kind of lay the ground rules out in
Yeah,
front,
for sure.
so on the backside there are no questions. Uh, Brotherhood Metal Detecting asks when they're going to get their coppers back.
Hey, I already gave him a couple coppers already. I think we're even by now.
So, so do you generally try to set those? I mean, that's pretty cool. And going back to that Facebook question, are you using
Yeah.
like buy sell groups or like I grew up in this area group or?
I've tried buy sell. I don't get a lot of hits on those, but the actual town Facebooks, if they have it, what I'll do is everything that we find locally in that town, I'll post, and it really catches their attention. So, uh, it's onesie twosies, but what happens is that person invites you out. You go hunt their land, and then that person tells their neighbor or says, "Hey, go talk to this person." And then word of mouth starts spreading a little bit, and then that's what gets us the next permission. So that's really where we've uh, been really productive when we get permissions. So
Larry Stewart says it's all about networking, and he's right. I mean,
it
it's
is, yeah, yeah, for
essentially what
sure.
you guys are doing is creating that network through mystery or any
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
intrigue, I guess would be the right word.
I, I actually had one lady message me, and she said, "You're not keeping the stuff that you find in your house, are you?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" And she goes, "All of that has energy connected to it, and if it's bad energy and you keep it into your house, you're bringing the bad energy into your house." So I thought about that, and I was like, "Yeah, screw it. I'll have that in my house anyways." So far, we haven't been on, so we should be good.
So that's pretty cool too. I mean, like that kind of interesting thing. I have a place that I got permission to dig. The gentleman who lived in the home before that, um, he would refuse to allow anybody to dig because he thought even if you were digging up a penny that someone lost, it was like robbing a grave.
Oh,
And it was
really?
yeah, it was
That's
really
strange.
strange, kind of that whole same energy thing. Well, my friend bought the property, and he's like, "Yeah, come on out and metal detect," and the place was loaded because the
Yeah.
old guy never he lived in the house for 100 years. He never let anybody dig in it. Um,
And you're not haunted yet, are you?
Now still not haunted yet.
Yeah, see, we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. So, have you ever do you run across that kind of interesting interaction from time to time, whether you're um, when you get permission or
Oh yeah, it's funny the like array of people that you meet when you're going to their house because really it's kind of like a blind date. You've never met these people, especially if it's like a digital thing where they say on Facebook. So you never know what you're gonna encounter. But most of them are really cool because we're looking for 17, 1800s houses out here because there's so much history, and all of the people that let us come out all have the same interest or passion that we do have about history and preserving the house, and they love seeing what comes out of the ground. So for the most part, all the people that have invited us out are super accommodating. They want to give us tours. Look at the certain parts of the house. We're trying to keep this original. The floorboards are this. This is from the 1800s. So it's pretty cool. You meet a lot of really really nice people that appreciate history. So
so we're gonna try to get Mike back in.
Come on, Mike. You can do it,
Uh,
buddy.
so we may have to readjust. Mike, Trey, I'm going to text you a new password.
All right.
This is how the live stream works. Um, uh, it's all on the fly. It's all fun and
Oh yeah.
games until somebody's internet crashes. Um, so we'll try that and we'll see if we can get Mike in here. And that means we'll have to screen adjust and do a bunch of other stuff. But
All right.
it's
I'm shooting
pretty,
at the mic.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. So, and that's honestly, it's pure genius in thinking about Facebook. I mean, think about
Yeah.
the media way that we're in right now and all the stuff that's going on now. And I mean, I think that's the key to finding new permission is to think outside the box.
Yeah.
Mike, you there?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Whoa, there he is.
Yeah.
You
All right.
sound like you are supposed to be here. All right.
Yes,
Let
sir. Sorry, guys.
no, let me get you on the screen. So
Okay.
don't get all willy-nilly on me yet.
I won't. Fingers crossed.
Reset to
If this doesn't
one.
work, I don't know what will. I'm hardlined into the router.
Oh, then you're good. Let
Okay.
me pan you up. Oh, wrong way. Man, you
Mike, I
guys,
hope you're
I
not
wish
trying to be an internet gamer.
I
You
No,
got
no,
a
at
wish
bad
no
connection.
point in time am I planning on that.
you guys knew what awesome multi-view position. Let's try it. We're gonna try it.
Here we go, Mike.
Two. Oh, Mike's the whole
Whoa,
screen. Look
look
at him.
Wow.
at
Hello.
that.
Live from New Jersey.
Yeah. So Mike, tell me a little bit about yourself while we're doing this. Right. Tell me about how you got
Yeah.
into metal detecting and what's it been like over the last couple of years.
So I was actually brought into the hobby by this guy up here, Trey. We work together, so you know, it, I'm a big history guy, and once Trey kind of told me about it, I was like, oh, I got to try this out. And it took about 2 weeks of watching YouTube videos before I got my first detector, and after that, it was history. A little bit about myself: born and raised in northern New Jersey in Sussex County, and now living in the mythical Central Jersey. But yeah, so I've been in the hobby just a little over 2 years, and all thanks to Trey.
And
You're welcome.
for other folks, since we're kind of jumping all around here, what what machine? What's the most popular machine in your group, and what do each of you swing? And tell me a little bit about that.
Equinox is now the
Yeah.
majority in our group. So we really use everything. We have Deus, we have Garrett, we have Minelab. Um, yeah, that's pretty much the three. So Julian uses the Garrett AP Max. I use the 600. Mike, you use the 8.
800. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Now, I
then we
have a
have
lot of
another
folks
SP8.
talk and ask me about the differences in the machines. Do you guys find any personal difference between the 600 and 800? Do you wish, Trey, that you had the 800, or Mike, do you think that, man, I could have saved a few bucks if I just bought the six?
Well, I've been on a little bit of a streak myself recently, but I don't think it's the machine. I think it's, I'm very Irish and we're very close. We just had St. Patrick's Day, so I think I've been riding a wave there a little bit. Um, that being said, Trey has out hunted me many, many a time, so I'm just on a little bit of a hot streak now. But I got my 800 at a good deal, so I'm very happy with it. But I think I would be fine with a 600 as well for sure.
Yeah. I got to tell you, software wise, they're the same. Setting wise, they're a little bit different. You have a little bit more to tinker with. But once Mike got the 15-inch, that's when you really
Yeah,
saw a difference in what he was finding. I mean, he went from the 11 to the 15-inch, and it was like, oh, copper, silver. And I was just going to crash still.
that's awesome luck for sure. For sure. I cover a lot more ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and for everybody who is in the chat right now, I've got a few folks throwing out what they hunt with. I'd love to know what you guys hunt with in the chat. Drop it down there. I'd love to know. Um,
Mhm.
so do you find that the 15 inch is deeper than the 11, or you're just covering more targets?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
We even used our big coils at a house permission, and I know we're probably missing a little bit, just because of coverage wise. There's probably some stuff under iron and
Yeah.
trash, so we'll switch to a smaller coil when we go back. But it's deeper and it covers more space, which is we usually do farm fields, so that's perfect for what we hunt.
Yeah, I mean, Trey, I think right. This last weekend you found a silver, right, under a piece or on top of a piece of iron or something like that. The coil
Yeah,
still picked up
huge.
on the large.
Yeah, it was perfect. Yeah, it was buried in between some iron and some trash, and I still pulled a. It was a rosy, but it still picked it out from everything. So
And do you so and you were talking earlier, your goal is to find 17 and 1800s periods house sites. And those larger coils probably let you cover a little more ground until you get into that iron patch, right?
yeah, that's the tough part. I mean, I have the 11 and the 6 too. So once we start getting into those parts, we'll switch to the smaller coil. But uh, yeah, if you're in the iron, you're gonna definitely miss some stuff with the big
Yeah.
with the big. That's
Do
for
you
sure.
do you like Mike? Do you have a when you go to a site, Mike? Do you have a coil that you start with immediately, or is it kind of like get the feel of the land, look around, see what's going on, and then you pick your coil?
So I think most of the times when we get out there, it's either very much so a field property or very much so a house property. And I'm going into it with a coil. If it's I don't have the 6 inch coil right now, so I'm rocking the just the 11 or the 15. And if it's a house property, I'm gonna naturally go to the 11. I think this last house we hit, it was the perfect hybrid. We had some farm fields, not massive, but we also had some really good yard property on this old house. So it honestly is pure laziness, I think, for part of it. I just didn't feel like changing out my coil. I just wanted to get out there and keep finding some coins and some relics and stuff like that. So I just kept the 15 inch on. But yeah, I would go into a property, based on what the majority of the land is that I'm going to cover with, and go from there.
So, and
What
then
he's
there's a
failing
lot
to
of folks in
mention,
here that are hunting with a lot of different machine. Brotherhood Metal Detecting, they're hunting with E-Tracks,
yeah,
some 18 Maxes, some Deuses, MX7s from T2s from Technetics. It's interesting. In all of those things, I feel that the coil is the one that it really doesn't matter what machine you have, right? It just, you need the right coil selection for the right site. And I think you're right.
Yeah,
You do
yeah,
get lazy, right? I mean,
yeah,
do
yeah,
you find the
certainly.
same thing that you get lazy? You're like, man, I could just, everybody is out hunting, but I know I should be using this coil.
yeah. Oh yeah, for
It's either
sure.
lazy or
And
Trey forgets one at home.
which I'm notorious for doing, or out in the field, one of the two.
The
So, it's funny. You kind of get into this like little competitive, like you want to find some stuff, and everybody else wants to find some stuff. And if you switch to a spot that 11-inch might be a little bit better, but everyone's already headed over to the spot, you're like, screw it. I'm gonna use the bigger coil and see what I can
It's
do.
just like fishing. The one guy who just beeline straight for the water instead of setting up a whole new lure and whatnot, just goes straight for it, tries to pound the water. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's funny, like fun thing to talk about too is in groups or when you hunt by groups, and I guess I'll ask both of you as well. Do do you guys go out and hunt by yourselves?
Not
Every now and then.
individually so much. Yeah.
Yeah,
At least it's
it's
Trey,
very.
myself, and Julian, if not more.
Yeah. It's very sparse. Like if there's just some reason no one can go out, then somebody will go by themselves. But for the most part, at least two of us can go. It's just fun, man. We're all really good friends, so it's like you want to be out there with somebody who enjoys the hobby like we do. So we try to go
It's
out
all
together
good.
as much as we can.
Yeah, it's all good fun to go out by yourself too. And I obviously not knocking anyone who does it because done it myself. But it's fun to have that competitive edge, kind of like what what you were saying, Matt. It's like, all right, we want to get more people out there, but who can find the next thing? Who's going to have the next big tone? And it just drives us even more.
Dude,
Yeah,
if
and
you
I
look at
think
some of
that's
our
fun
early
too.
videos,
And this was kind of like a lead into my next question. Do you ever find that you have days that you're just like, what is happening here? Like days
yeah,
you don't even have your machine turned on. It feels like.
oh yeah.
We've all
You know
been
those
there.
it's those times where you shake it over your shovel just to make sure it's working. I've had this before. You're like,
Oh
is
yeah.
this even on?
Yeah, and
We've
it's
yeah.
funny when you talk about somebody getting on a streak, like Mike's on his streak right now. But it's sometimes it just feels like, man, I'm not even going to go out and dig with Mike because I know he's going to pull a silver or that next awesome coin or, and I
You
think
know
that's
when
part
we
of
went
being competitive, human nature. But I also think it's part of the jovial manner of hanging out
oh yeah.
between each other.
Oh, absolutely. Got to bust each other's chops.
Morale went down this weekend when we went out with Greg and Julian and they saw Mike pull up. They're like, "Oh, we didn't know you were coming. We didn't know you were
I've never faced such a negative greeting pulling into a permission before.
coming."
I
Yeah.
actually have permission.
And the first thing he pulls is a Jersey State Copper, of course.
Guilty as charged.
Which
Yeah.
was a beautiful coin as well.
It's
Oh,
awesome,
absolutely.
man. His was in
It's
great shape.
been at the top of my bucket list for a while. And, when you got guys like Trey from Kansas City pulling Jersey Coppers and the local New Jersey guy, I'm like, all right, I got to get one of these. So it was nice to just check
Yeah,
that off.
yeah.
So, so in your research, do you and looking for those places, do you ever run across the folks who have told you that it's been hunted before? I mean, and you obviously you have some local competition around. How do you manage
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
those kind of places?
You treat them like a new permission.
Yeah.
We went to a house. I remember we went to a house and the lady's like, "You're definitely." This guy came and pounded this a couple times, and I don't think you're gonna find anything. I ended up finding a large scent and um, a powder flask in the same yard. Like, how do you miss that signal? So even if someone pounds it, you still gotta go for it and treat it like it's a new permission. So
I always go back to I live in an 1830s house. Not a huge yard, but I have a backyard and a front yard. And when I ended up getting my first metal detector, I went out in the backyard, ended up finding a large scent, like 2 inches under the ground, and some cool stuff. But I mean, when I'm bored and I need something to do, or every time I've upgraded my metal detector, I've gone out in my backyard and I find buttons. I find something new every single time, and even in just such a small space, it truly goes to show that no place is ever fully pounded, no place is ever hunted out.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny. And Jimmy Cloak says when you get to know your detector, it will tell you what you have. I mean, I think that's the other part is once you get to know, you can go back to those old
Hmm.
permissions and really
Yeah.
refined a lot of or find stuff that you were like,
Yeah.
man, I should have found that. Do you have old permissions that you continually go back to?
We call it the tried and true. It's a farm that we've probably hunted 100 times. I mean, we've gone back there so many times. Clay goes there on during the weekdays, and we continually find. I mean, we found probably 30 coppers, 35
Yeah.
coppers on this farm. And then the last time I went out, I found a half real, and we found Spanish silver there, and you know, it it it, it always produces something. I gridded out a spot at the same farm and went back to that same spot I gridded and found a couple more things after I'd already gridded it. So
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
so wild, man. It just it. I've had permissions like that where you're like, do we really want to go back?
Yeah,
And you go back and you're like, why didn't I come back earlier?
the first time that we hunted, it's our farm now that I was telling you about earlier, Matt Grow Row. We did not find one
Yeah.
coin, not one coin. Mike and I and Joe from Connecticut, we went out, did not find. He found a cool silver butter knife,
Yeah.
not one coin. We've since then found probably 20 copper coins. So
Yeah,
you
20
just never
coppers.
know.
We got a couple Jersey copper, some big silver. I mean, you truly never know.
Yeah.
So you guys dig like you talk about state coins, you talk about silver and things like that. Us Virginia boys in the 1700s were poor. You know, like
They're cheap.
yeah, I don't know if they
Right?
were cheap or they were just poor. They were just shipping all their tobacco out, and I don't know what they were doing with it. But you know, it's so crazy the volume of coins that you guys find versus what we find here. We've had a few places that you'll find we find King George's and we find
Hmm.
colonial period stuff. Is there an era that you guys find yourself in more with the coinage than we do?
Yeah.
I mean,
Seems like
This
this
year
year
is
yeah, the year of King
it's
George.
colonial.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year it's crazy. We can't find an American large cent, but we can find KGs like left and right. It's been crazy. We've stayed in the
Yeah.
1700s most of the time.
wow, that's so awesome, man. That that amount of history up there, and then whether I've seen some of the colonial tavern sites and things like that to get on
It's
those kind
crazy.
of permissions that have just so many coins, just it boggles my mind.
We're
Um,
blessed to be up here, man.
Yeah.
That's why
There's no doubt
my
about it.
dad lives in Kansas City still, and I feel bad for him because I mean there's some old plots in there, but he doesn't have the spots that we have out here. So it's so nice. The history is so thick everywhere you go.
so and
Yeah,
I
for
got to
every
give
spot
one of the
that's
guys in the chat who's saying 8 reals, Matt, 8 reals. That comes from Frankie, who is the monster of 8 reals, who has now found two complete 8 reals and a
Oh, that
Copperhead
lucky
Metal.
dog.
I'm jealous.
Jeez.
Um,
Yeah.
so do you guys find a lot of Spanish silver as well?
It's sparse. We found
Yeah.
a few
Aren't
Spanish.
we?
I found a couple. I know Julian's found some, but for all of the 1700s coins that we've pulled, not one Spanish has come out of that farm. Which I know there's something in there.
Oh,
That's our
Just got
mentality. You know it's in there.
yeah, that just drives you to like just prove it to yourself to go out there and find
Yeah.
one to know.
yeah, oh
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
So, and I guess we're kind of talking about all the other stuff that PA Pirate says they've been on the silver half kick.
We
That
really
is
have.
true. That is
What have
true.
we found? It's like 4 hunts now that we found silver half
Yeah.
dollars.
Yeah,
Four
we've
hunts
been
in a
doing
row
good.
that somebody's found one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Paul came up to our permission and stole one from us. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
that would have been that's the fifth technically. Yeah. I mean, we had a
Well, I
gap
say that
in
we went
between,
to
right?
his and stole
Yeah, exactly. We got our revenge.
one. Two barbers in a row. That's
Yeah.
wild.
Two barbers, Trey, you got that beautiful walking
Yeah,
liberty,
the
right?
walker. And
Yeah.
Paul got a walk. Well,
Yeah.
See, I've only ever dug two halves, and both of mine were barbers, and both of them were when I first started within a week of each other.
Wow. We
wow.
we always talk about that, right? How you find something and then like Trey, what didn't you find something back to back, like 2 cent pieces or something like that?
Yeah, I found like two 2 cent pieces back to back. It's weird how they come in pairs like that. You know what I mean? So
Or
I
quads
don't
in the
know.
case of $5.
Yeah, or
It
fours. Yeah.
it is weird, and it's funny too that I've heard the old wives' tale of buy one find one, right? So you go to a relic shop
Is
and
that what
you've
it
never
is?
found a U.S. buckle, you buy one, and the next week you go out and you find one.
Well,
Wow,
I
I didn't know
appreciate
about
that.
that.
I'm
I'm gonna
going
have to
broke.
adopt
I'm
that
going broke
lifestyle.
then.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Forget about it. Oh
that's
my
an old
God.
relic hunter's wives' tale.
Wow. Okay.
But it's pretty wild how all that kind of stuff works.
Yeah,
Um,
you
do you got
you find
and I
what
guess like
works.
so when you're playing hanging out in the field and stuff, do you have like running bets or like let's talk about jokes. Like what kind
Yeah.
of jokes you play on each other in the field?
Well, I
We
mean,
bet all the time. It's like first
yeah,
silver, first copper, $5, $10. You got to put a little money on it.
you
We're
gotta be a little
competitive,
bit
man. That's what you
generous,
got to
you
do.
know, and up the ante. I have this little copper. It's a I don't even know what it is. It's just this little dense piece of copper that I have sitting in my fines pouch that I'm just waiting to replug and just wait for someone. I'm searching for the perfect opportunity. Just someone's down in the dumps. Just throw that in there and just mess with them even more.
Uh, the last
Watch
permission
yourself.
owner that we went to actually was like, "Man, you guys are pretty competitive, aren't you?" So it shows a little bit, but it makes it a little funner, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for the sport. We've got 25 awesome folks here hanging out. Who did I just see that just popped in? Up North Diggers, what is up? If you guys have any questions or anything for the guys from Copperheads Metal Detecting, drop it in the chat. We'll try to get to it. It's been a pretty laid back stream. It's been a little bit
Yeah.
stressful early on, but Mike, I'm super glad you're able to
Me too.
get it all going and
Yeah.
make it.
It was like when I threw the comment in the chat, I was like, "Oh no, this is my last thread of possibly getting back in here. Let me just hope for the best." I'm using my fiance's work computer right now that she has home, so I guess a silver lining to this quarantine issue. But her laptop does have Ethernet port, so we are rocking and rolling.
Awesome, man.
Good.
Awesome. Well, I'm super glad. I was really bummed. Like, we'd worked all this out.
Right.
But it's crazy how it works. But we're good now. What so talking about a little bit coming up in the future for you guys. We've been talking, and a lot of the organized metal detecting events have been canceled for the near future, but there's still a couple out in the distant future that are a possibility. Where do you guys see yourself traveling to, or coming up in the future for Copperheads?
Yeah, I think that's our next step is trying to get to some of these,
Yeah.
organized events. Maybe we can make it
We got
down to yours, Matt. You can make it down there. But
Oh yeah, man! You guys want to come? Come on! It's going to be a lot of fun. Do you ever get to do any beach metal detecting?
we don't go much. We do a lot of
No,
farms, man.
I've never
We only
been.
get the weekends to hunt, so we just go
Right.
out to the farms and the permissions we have. But we're going to dig stock, so our group
Yeah.
is, already got our
Hopefully that's
tickets and
far
we're
enough
ready to
out in
go out there.
October that we have no worries there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think all this stuff is going to be good as far as that goes. I really want to go to Digstock. I think I'm full on insane for having the Gone Diggin' Beach Blast the very next week afterwards. Um, but
If you
I don't
go, the
know. Maybe I'll
Copperheads would buy
find
you a
somebody
beer.
who's crazy enough to go
Yeah.
with
Oh,
me.
absolutely. Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
Have you guys ever been up to upstate New York?
He
So
works up
for
there.
work, my district goes from Plattsburgh, which is about 20 minutes south of Shazy, where Digstock is going to be, all the way down through southern New York, a narrow strip down through the Capital District. So I go up actually to Plattsburgh almost once a month, and this past last month before we got the work from home, I had full intent to go check out, drive by the farm site for Digstock, but there, as is typical in deep upstate New York, almost Canada at that point, they were calling for about 11 inches of snow, so I had to kind of skedaddle out of there before the snow came. So I didn't get a chance to check it out. But I mean, driving up through that area, I will tell you, holy smokes, it is gorgeous. It is chock full of history. I mean,
Yeah.
just times, man, I've been up there, going up there all winter, just drooling at some of these potential permissions. It's like, all right, well, if I end up driving 5 hours north, I could just bring my detector, hope there's a hotel within an hour's drive, and maybe get some permissions up there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Digstock possibly. So and you guys do travel to other spots. You go
Yeah.
over and hunt with Paul and Charlie
Oh
Harley.
yeah.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
Those
Those
guys
guys
are
are
the
great.
best, man. They're
Absolutely.
hilarious. Oh
yeah, they're
my
Is
god.
it
great,
And
man.
Paul
he
from Waffle House
and
Grandpa Charlie?
I
yeah, we went to Waffle House one time. The last time we went out hunting, I pulled an oopsie, man. I left my detector at their permission. We live about 2 hours away. We made it halfway through. I was like, Julian, is my detector in the back? And it wasn't. So
the
it gave us a chance to go have Waffle House with Charlie, which we really
It
enjoyed.
was
So
great.
yeah. Paul said Trey left his detector just so he could come back and dig again.
oh, we would love to go back down, man.
We'll come
We
back.
actually had a good day. Yeah.
That was
That
so much
they
fun. It was
talk about history. You
oh
go
my
out
God.
there, it's Yeah, it's all over the place. So
They pre-warned us that, we were gonna just find ourselves in metal detecting heaven as we drove to meet them. And I mean, they almost undersold it, and I thought they were overselling at the point. It was just colonial property after colonial. Oh my God, it was
he
gorgeous.
said bring an extra pair of underwear, and I definitely needed it. That's for sure.
uh, very 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 cool. I would love to come up there and hunt with them sometime. I'm going to get them down here. I promised Kevin from Potter County to come down and find a
Yeah.
bullet. Um, do you guys run into the same thing like I'm running into now? Is a lot of your fields and your house sites are getting planted?
Yeah, it's becoming that time. They haven't been planted yet, but it's our
It's a
time
short,
is very
short.
limited.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, we just got a new house permission, so they don't plan anything.
Yeah, that's great. A lot of my field, my bullet field that I was gonna have those guys come down is is planted. I mean they were planting the fields right next door, so I'm sure it's planted by now. But
Yeah.
man, it just drives me nuts. It's like the most sad time of year. So
Right.
when your permissions are running thin, where do you guys go? What do you are you back to door knocking or do you do any of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna take that a little lightly for the next month or so with
Not to
all
get
that crap
shot
going
now
on.
doing door knocking.
Yeah, no, people aren't gonna take that very lightly, but there are a few around us. We have one lined up soon that, that they don't mind as long as we're clean, we keep our space. So,
Yeah,
uh, luckily, we have a couple lined up already, but door knocking's probably out of the question for right now. But we will try that once it all passes.
Yeah, no
absolutely.
doubt. No doubt. That's I'm not a big person to door knock. I will do in in maybe old areas or places I think that there's older history hidden in some of those occupation areas from the
Yeah.
20s or 30s, depending on what the ground was like. But I don't really find myself doing a lot of that, but I need to get better at it.
It's
It's
Um,
tough.
hard.
It's intimidating. I mean, I'm a very outgoing person, and it's still, you get the butterflies every time you walk up to that door. And I mean, just for the sake of how antiquated it is, knocking on someone's door who's not expecting you, who hasn't gotten a call or a text or whatever it may be, and just don't. I couldn't tell you the last time someone truly knocked on my door that wasn't a food delivery person or like Amazon.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Do you find have you guys moved into the water at all? You hunt creeks or any of the local waterways around?
So
Not
I
yet.
was playing around in the creek at our last permission. That was really the first time I think I'd ever had my 800 even close to water besides rain at that point. But we've got some good opportunities over here. It's just a matter of diving into it and
Yeah.
figuring it out. The Delaware River, I mean, runs right through. I mean, by where my parents grew up, it's right back there. So I mean, there's some good opportunity.
Yeah, we have some spots, but we haven't tried it really
No.
to the full extent we could.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
It's been
tough,
too
man. When
cold,
you guys
man.
get into it, it's a
that's true.
completely different world, and
Yeah,
it's pretty wild, man. You know,
I got some waiters ready for me. I just need to,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I
get
guess
it.
your water's a little colder right now than ours is. It's starting to warm up a little bit.
Yeah, we've been fortunate though with the warm weather so far. I mean, to be detecting all through January, I mean, we're pretty lucky this year.
Yeah,
Hmm.
no doubt, man. Um, dude, Brotherhood Metal Detecting. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Um, much appreciated. You don't
Hey,
have to
he
do
still
that.
owes me money. He shouldn't be doing that.
Oh my.
Eric, where's my $5? Just kidding.
Is that a bet? Is that a bet that's owed?
No, yeah, we technically owe him because he had us down recently, and we had a really
Yeah.
good day. A lot
Oh, it
of
was
us
great.
found some. Yeah, so we do owe him. If anybody's in debt, it's definitely us.
So, for folks who don't know, we learned some really cool stuff today about Mike. Not only is he a wizard at getting a computer that won't connect to the internet, he just finds another computer, plugs it in, and it works fine. But Mike's a part-time rapper, I've heard. Maybe a former part-time rapper.
In my dark and troubled past, I may, and in the dredges of the internet, there may be a rap song floating around there with a feature, not a full rap song.
So
We,
you're a featured artist, and who was the artist that you
yeah.
were featured on?
He was a guy I went to college with, Vinny. So I don't know if the album's still out there, but he is a hustler. So well, I have no idea. But I didn't have a rap name, so it's just featuring Mike. So if there's any songs out there featuring Mike, it may or may not be me,
What was Vinny's name?
Vinny the Hustler.
Vinny the Hustler. You know,
Absolutely.
I really wanted to find that on the internet and have that as your outro music.
Oh, that would have been
It's
good.
not PG. I'm just gonna throw that one out there.
Yeah, well,
That's
that's why
for
it would have been the outro music, not the
yeah, yeah,
intro music.
exactly. Just
Yeah.
a strong exit. Oh man, yeah.
Do
Funny the
you,
things that come up. I haven't thought about that in God, a while.
I'm glad you did though. That kind of
I
made my
know,
day
right?
today. I
Right?
was thinking about that all the Vinny the Hustler featuring Mike. That's like
Right? Like Prince, or the artist formerly known as Prince. Just a one-word name, Oprah. I mean, I guess she has a last name, but she's known as Oprah. But
oh
Mike.
my
Oh God.
Uh, if you guys drop another video, I want to hear. Hey, welcome to
Oh,
Copperheads Metal
Metal
Detecting,
detecting freestyle.
featuring Mike.
Yeah.
we should
There we
make a
go.
whole just music video.
Oh, that would
That
go
might
Absolutely
be.
viral for the
should.
worst
Metal
reasons. Oh
Detecting
my God.
NYC is like, he's got some really dope beats, as the kids say.
Right,
Uh,
right. It's hard out here
so
for
I
an
mean, you guys
aspiring
could do a
rapper.
collaboration with Merrill, and man, change the metal detecting rap game.
Right?
That's right.
You can quote us on this. The game is about to be changed.
All right, I appreciate. I like that. I like that. I'm gonna tell Mike Merrill you're coming for him.
There
Where do
we
you
go.
guys see yourselves going aside from Pound the Ground? What do you foresee for the future of Copperhead Metal Detecting?
Bigger.
Uh,
Whatever we can do.
yeah. So I mean, obviously we want to grow the channel and share with as many people as we possibly can. But right now we're kind of trying to do something in the community, and the local farm that we've been hunting. We kind of want to make this a thing, right? Bring some of the metal detectors together. The farm that we've been hunting is America's Grow Row, and they're an awesome nonprofit farm. The team is great. Chip is the president, and he's been very helpful and accommodating. And what they do is they grow food for needy families and children. So and then they donate all their food. But we've been raising money. We've been calling it Clad for Kids, and it's been doing pretty well. We're probably, it says on our GoFundMe we're at 1377 last time I looked, but we're pretty close to $1,500 with other donations. But we kind of want to pursue that a little bit because they bring kids from the inner city out to teach them about farming and healthy eating, but they also want us to teach these kids history and metal detecting. So, I mean, obviously we want our channel to grow, but we also would love to see that turn into something a little bit bigger because,
Oh, absolutely.
metal detecting is an older crowd, and introduce some of these kids who probably never even heard of it to it would be a great thing. So that's what we really want to do.
Yeah, that's the big goal right now.
That is super cool, man. I really appreciate that. My channel's been a huge support to me and my family as I've done that. So I tell you what, I will. I'll match all the super chats that were given tonight, and I will throw that in the GoFundMe for you guys.
That's
All
awesome. Thank you.
right. Yeah,
So,
Great.
man, I appreciate it. That's
I'll
awesome.
if
add
you
a
guys are
super chat.
interested, there's a link to Grow a Row in the description. There is also a little bit of a GoFundMe set up there as well. But that's super cool, man. I think it's kind of, you feel like it's a little bit of an obligation, because it's somebody taught us, like now it's passing the torch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's one of our passions. So if we can
Yeah.
connect a kid through doing that, and then what if they end up starting a YouTube channel and they get a large following, then it makes you feel good about yourself. So
It's not too often that you get a chance to give back to your permissions. It's always, hey, if you want any of the things we find,
yeah.
great. But this is such a good opportunity to show how we can give back to our permissions.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
dude,
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely fantastic stuff, man. I really like that, and I'll be sure to go check out Grow a Row. I think that's really awesome. I'm big into growing gardens and stuff like that. So, but I really like the whole thing of kind of paying it forward. So that's fantastic. Um,
Yeah.
if both of you were stuck on an island and you got one food forever and you have to be there together, what are you going to pick?
Can
Together.
it be a
Yeah,
combination?
it could be a combination. You both get
Are
one
we going
food.
for are we going for the classic allocation lunch? Bonchon.
Bonchon? Is that? I don't know. Have you ever had bonchon?
No, I have not.
That is some pretty good chicken. I'll tell you that right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, it's
But
fire. But
I would say
pizza.
some spicy nugs and a chocolate
Ooh,
frosty. If I could live off of
ooh.
that and not throw up, I would do that every single night. I'll tell you that
I mean, if we're on a deserted island, no one knows how fat we are. Yeah, send it my way. I will eat all the spicy nugs in the world.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
Be tan,
man.
fat, and full of nugs.
What you could go and dig anywhere tomorrow without restriction, free. You get to go and dig. Where would you go?
Hmm.
Where are you going, Mike? All right.
I mean, you've already hunted in England, so I mean that's kind of
Yeah.
off a bucket list for you. But that's definitely somewhere I think that I'd love the opportunity. I've only been over there once, and it was before I was in the hobby. So just getting to see some of that history over there. I mean, it's definitely a realistic potential opportunity. So I'd say England would be up there. I mean, yeah, just all that history. That's for me for sure.
My experience over there was so, good and amazing that I would love to go back. 100%, I would love to go back. Pulling your first Roman coin is like a feeling you'll never, never experience. 2,000-year-old coin and you just dug it. It's been sitting in the ground for that long. I'll do that all day, every day.
I've yet to
Yeah,
have that
that's
feeling.
cool, man. That's I would love to go to England, I think. But Trey, do you have anywhere you would go anywhere in the world other than
Yeah, it would be bad.
it would be back to England?
Other than England, that's a good question, man. I would come down near you. Civil
That's
War,
true.
any kind of
Yeah.
plate right now is really far up there as far as bucket list goes, and we don't get a lot of Civil War stuff. So it's funny, you probably get that a lot. I know you've got that a couple of times from some of us up north guys. Yeah, we'd come down there, but I would love to find a plate. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think that we all get a little bit jaded about the places we get to go and dig,
Oh yeah,
right? Like even some of like my recent videos, I dig a handful of Civil War bullets in a 1920s yard, and people are
right.
like, "Oh my God, I'd love to find one."
Right.
I'm like, "It was okay day."
I wouldn't be upset
Yeah,
adding some more three ringers to my collection. That's for dang sure.
You know, but it's just kind of how it goes too.
Yeah.
hmm
But dudes, I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me this lovely confined Tuesday evening. I appreciate
yeah.
everybody who stuck with us through all of our technical difficulties.
Sorry about
If
that,
there's
guys.
anything you guys would like to say, here you go. Have at it.
No, I mean, I don't know about you, Mike, but any kind of help with the grow a row and the clad for
Yeah.
kids would be amazing. And then, I mean, whoever wants to hunt, hit us up
Hit
because
us
we're
up.
always trying to
Yeah.
find
We're
and
cool
meet other
guys,
people in here. Yeah, we're not too bad. So,
But yeah,
but
for sure. I mean, to help with Grow, I mean, it's millions of pounds of produce that they've donated to families in need, and it's just a great opportunity again to give back.
yeah,
Very
And again,
cool.
to foster the growth of metal detecting as a hobby, if we get the opportunity to do that over there, it's just another way, we can make a good name for ourselves as a community and open more potential for more permissions.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, you kind of foster two things, right? Your love for the hobby and, you support somebody else. So I
Yeah.
think that's all fantastic stuff. You know what? We made it a whole 57 minutes, and I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with
We
me.
did it.
Excuse me. But we've, I think we've run to the end.
Yeah.
Uh, that was too fast, man.
Yeah,
That's
just
too
Right.
fast.
Yeah, it happens pretty quick. It happens pretty quick. But you guys are welcome to come back anytime you like and bring the whole gang if you want. When we're
There we
not all
go.
social distance out.
Oh yeah. I didn't even get to give PA Pirate Paul enough crap on the live stream either. So
Right.
maybe I'll
Right.
text him later.
Yeah, well, there's always an opportunity we can do that all live together one day. I would love to do that, by the
Yeah.
way. So,
All
um,
right. Well, thanks for having us. We
Yeah.
had a good
Thank you
time.
so much. This is awesome. Again, apologies everyone for the internet connectivity issues, but I'm glad we got it all squared away.
no worries, man. We worked through it. So, well, I appreciate you guys. I'm going to slide you off to the side and we're going to close this out. So, don't go anywhere, though.
Cool.
Boom. So there we go. Um, two fantastic dudes who do great stuff. Not only are they a part of a great group, the Copperheads Metal Detecting YouTube channel, but group, they support local nonprofits. They find first of all they find incredible coins. You guys already know that. Um, so, a big shout out to Mike and Trey for coming out and hanging out with us this evening. It has been a fantastic evening. I really appreciate each and every one of you who came in here and hung out with me. I hope you're doing well. You're staying safe, you're staying well, and having a great evening. And man, it's been great. So we have a pretty big stream set up for next week. I am super excited. It would be Diggin in Virginia, but we are going to have a really great guest next week, as good as those guys who are champions of the internet. So big shout out. Go check out the links in the description. Grow a Row, their GoFundMe, Copperheads Metal Detecting on social, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of that stuff. You know all about it. Go check out the descriptions. My name is Matt. This has been Gone Diggin'. I hope you have the chance next week to go out and find some history. If you're not able to go out and find history, I hope you're able to go make history. Until next time, we'll see you right here live in the Relic Room. Thanks for watching.